go. All right, so we're recording right now, please. Start screen share. Okay, so I was going to finish up 3.2. I only have a little bit left to do, which was 23, 25, and 27. So let me knock those out of the way. If you want to put stuff in the chat, that's okay. I can't see it right now, but maybe Star can help me with that as necessary. Okay, so we have some of these piecewise defined functions. Again, for now, you can take notes or not. Don't look at it carefully until after the test. All right, so piecewise defined functions. So 3.2, page 150, graph A of x is x cubed as x goes from -2 to 1, including -2 and including 1, and x squared if x is greater than 1. Okay, so we basically graph this only from here to here, and then for x greater than 1, we graph that. Okay, the graphs aren't really that different, actually, so let's see. Okay, so I'll just kind of go like that. Now, if I were to plug in -2, -2 cubed is -8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so for the graph, -2 comma -8, -1 cubed is -1, 0, 0, and 1, 1. Okay, and we know x cubed kind of looks like this anyway, so there's the graph so far of the cubic function. Okay, and as a reminder, we have all these graphs in the text. So back on 144, absolute value, x squared, x cubed, right? 1 over x, square root of x, and semicircle function. Okay, then the rest of the time I have this function. If I were to plug in 1, I'd still have 1, so they touch there. And we know y equals x squared is parabolic, so it just continues up like that. So you can't really tell that much of a difference between the two. And that's what we have there. Okay, so that's about it for that one. Let me raise it up. Okay, and then 25, please, is right there. So x cubed if x is less than 1, square root of x if x is greater than 1. So 25. If you didn't get it, I got it here. C of x is equal to x cubed. X is less than 1. It says the word if. I'm just putting a comma, safe writing if. Square root of x, x is greater than 1. Okay, so very similar. Now, can you look at this function? There's one value of x for which the function is not defined. Can you see what that would be? X is not defined. Where? I have x less than 1. I have x greater than 1. What's left out? X equals 1. So at x equals 1, I'm going to end up with a hole, as it were. A very rough sketch. Okay, x cubed, we just finished graphing that. So I'll do the same thing. I have a hole at 1, 1. And then I'm just going to draw the same thing as I did over here. That's the x cubed part. Okay, now, what's the square root of 1? 1. So open circle there. And then the rest of the time, I just draw the square root function, which kind of looks like this, right? Square root function. In fact, they have the point 1, 1. So after 1, 1, I just kind of curve it like they got it there. So that's the graph. So this graph is defined everywhere except right at x equals 1. So x less than 1, I draw the cubic function. X greater than 1, square root function. And there we go. And let me raise it up again. Okay, then 27, and I'm done. Okay, except 27 has two parts to it, but they're very similar. In fact, you look carefully at A and B, 27. The only difference is for part A. See how for square root they have x less than or equal to 1? For part B, it just says x is less than 1. Everything else looks like it's the same, right? Look carefully at 27A and B. They both say square root of x, 1 over x, x between 1 and 2, not including 1, not including 2. The only difference is that for A, they've got x less than or equal to 1, and for B, x is strictly less than 1. So there's going to be an open circle instead of a closed circle. That's all. Okay. So y is equal to radical x 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 1. And then 1 over x between 1 and 2. Okay, so I've showed you the square root function. 1 over x, you might recall, looks like this. Okay. So this one is 1 over x. This one over here touches 1, 1. There's the square root function, which also touches 1, 1. So between 0 and 1, including 1. Goes like that. And then between 1 and 2, not counting 2, if I plug in 2, you get a half. So open circle there. Goes like that. And then for part B, I won't graph it, I'll just say quickly. For part B, I'll let you do that on your own. So again, if you look at A and B, only difference is for B, for radical x, 0 less than or equal to x, strictly less than 1. A was less than or equal to 1. Everything else is the same. So just have an open circle. So 1 comma 1 is open. So just graph the same thing, draw that, except that's an open circle. And that's what I was going to show you right there. Okay. All right, and I'm finished, folks. So I have successfully completed 3.2. So I'm right on schedule. And again, as long as I'm right on schedule, we're actually ahead because I have all these extras. So if you find me later on in the semester falling behind by a day or 2 days, that's okay. I have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days that I can fall behind, so to speak. Okay, so I'm finished with that. I will now let you ask questions for review up until a maximum of 12 o'clock. But if we stop earlier than that, or even now, that's okay by me too. Okay, I do see something in the chat if it has to do with attendance. Okay, so I'm not worried about attendance at all. Okay, and let's see. 2.4, 45, 49, 55. Okay, I see that. 2.4, 45, 49, 55. All right, so let's see what that's about. All right, so if you missed it, I'm taking attendance during the test. Okay, so you may ask me questions. You can put it in the chat. It's probably the easiest. 2.445. 2.445. 2 minus x over 3 minus 2x greater than or equal to 0. Okay, now I will make the assumption that you've seen these problems. Okay, so I'm going to be going faster than I would have thought. It should not be you're seeing this for the first time. Theoretically, you've done it. Okay, so my boundaries are x equals 2 and x equals 3 over 2. Okay, I set that equal to 0, set that equal to 0, right? Okay. If you say, I have no idea what you're doing, it probably means you didn't try the problem, which you should have done by now. Okay, so I'll be going a little bit faster in order to get as many questions as I can. 0, 1, 2, that's 1.5. That's 2. 2 gives me a true statement. 1.5 does not. So region 1, 2, 3. If I plug in 2, I get 0 in the numerator. 0 divided by that is 0. 0 is greater than or equal to 0. That's true. If I plug in 3 over 2, the denominator is 0. Okay, so region 1, 0. Region 2, well, something between 1.5 and 2. How about 1.6? Region 3, 3. Fraction bar, fraction bar, fraction bar. Okay, so I see a lot more right there. So I'm going for quantity now rather than quality, unfortunately. Again, you should have already tried these problems. Okay, so if this is the first time you've seen the problem, this is probably not for you. Okay, so 0 gives me positive, positive. Positive divided by positive is positive. That's true. 1.6, positive, negative, negative, false. Plug in 3, negative, negative. Negative divided by negative is positive. That's true. So negative infinity, 3 halves, union bracket 2 to infinity. I'll raise it up so you can see that. Okay, so that was 45. Somebody asked for 49 also. Okay, 49 I did yesterday, so since I did it yesterday, I don't want to do it again. 55. 55 I did yesterday, I believe, so since I did that, I'm not willing to do it again. Okay, therefore I've caught up. Okay, let's see. So I'm trying to catch up here. 2.255. Can I use Google Docs and answer and transfer into the paper? Yes, you may. I prefer you do not send me the email via Google Docs because I sometimes don't get it. Again, the safest thing is you've all sent in the quiz, at least you should have. So if you send it to me and do a quiz and I got it, I read it, so you know that worked, right? So send the same way. Okay, bracket. So bracket 2, 3. Okay, this means count 2. Include this, exclude this. Okay, so that would be like this. And if you want to put this on your cheat sheet, you may. Can I tell you what I think would be the most difficult? Not really. Okay, it's different for different people. Okay, so the only thing I can say, anything I gave you that's fair is from the homework. Okay, let's see. 1.745. If I miss your question, put it again. Sometimes there's so much stuff in the chat that I miss your question. So if I miss your question, then put it again. 2.241. Okay, and textbook, I can't really help you with that right now. Okay, so I'm going to close the chat and let's see, 1.745. 1.745. X squared plus y squared equals square root of 2. Okay, so the center is the origin. The radius is the square root of this number, square root of the square root of 2. And you might recall this means 2 to the 1/2 to the 1/2, which is 2 to the 1/4, which means the 4th root of 2. Okay, so the center is the origin, and the radius is the 4th root of 2. I know I went through that fast, but I did go over it before, so that should be just a repeat. I think 2.241 was asked for. So let me see. 2.241. x to the fourth plus 3x squared equals 0. All right. So unfortunately, this is not factorable. This is x squared squared plus 3x squared minus 2 equals 0. So let me temporarily call this y. Y equals x squared. That way it looks like y squared plus 3y minus 2 equals 0. Okay, then use the quadratic formula. Okay, so y is equal to negative 3 plus or minus the square root of b squared, 9, minus 4 times a times c, all over 2 times 1, which is negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 17, all over 2. And that's x squared. X squared is negative 3 plus or minus radical 17 all over 2. It asks for real solutions, so I can't have the negative, so I throw out the negative. Okay. Square root of 17 is bigger than 4, so if I subtract, I'm going to have a negative. If I add, that's going to be positive. Okay, so x is plus or minus the square root of this, negative 3 plus square root of 17 all over 2, and you can just leave it like that. Okay, so that was 2.241. I caught up with the last part of the chat. So let me see, what else do we have? Okay, something about the online text, got that. There'll be braces. Okay, so I mentioned that before. Right, so if you just have a single point, then you write braces. So there's no such thing as an interval from 0 to 0. Okay, that looks like a point. Okay, so if all you have is a single dot at 0, okay, then you write it in braces. Okay, so this is meant to be used for a set. A set. Okay, and we had some problems involving that. Okay, I think I've caught up with the chat unless I missed you. Okay, it's only 11:30. Okay, so it's up to you. Any more questions? If I didn't get your question, because it's hard for me to look at 20, 25 things in the chat and get them all. That's up to you. So if I missed your question, put it in the chat again or unmute yourselves. Otherwise, we can stop and break and go straight to the test, and I'll give you more time. And you have until 1 o'clock. Okay, so anybody else, please?
When it comes to the cheat sheet, it's one paper and it's front and back.
Okay, I don't think I quite heard you, or you can put it in the chat, but I think you're asking about the cheat sheet. Yes, one sheet of paper like this, front and back, 8.5 by 11. You can put anything you want, sample questions, formulas, and so forth. I think that's what you said. But I can't change the volume now either unless I stop the share. Okay, so let me increase my volume to hear you better. Okay. All right, anybody else, please? Give you another moment. How are you submitting a test? Just like the quiz? Just like you have heard? That's the reason why I had you set up with the quiz. So you should know by now, right? So click, 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 click. Email it to me. Same thing for the homework. Okay, some of you already got your homework. That's great. Okay, but if not, homework is due 1:30, right? Half an hour after the test, and the test is due at 1:05. Okay. Anybody else, please? Okay, break time. I'll stop recording. It's 11:30, so we'll start the exam at 11:40. That means you have 11:40 until 1 o'clock, so it's more than an hour. I'll send it via Canvas announcements. I get that set up, but I also project it for you. And once the test starts, then your camera's on, mute yourself, and good stuff like that. Okay, so we'll break for about 10 minutes, and then we'll start the test. All right.